Thank you, Kathryn, for your incredible committee for setting this up and for bringing us all together. I do have some messages from the mayor. He says, it's an honor for the city of Mesa to have been it's an honor for the city of Mesa to have been home to the RAF during the war. We take pride in maintaining the final resting spot in our city cemetery for the 23 brave pilots who died during the training and made the ultimate sacrifice for their country. This sacred spot of ground serves as a reminder to subsequent generations of the horrors of war. Let's all commit ourselves to honor these young men by following their examples of service. That's from John Giles, the mayor of the city of Mesa. And then from Jen Duff, dear friends and allies, on behalf of the Mesa City Council and Mayor, I send our regards and recognize our enduring connection to England through the Royal Air Force cadets who trained at Falcon Field during World War II. We honor the pilots and legacy they left behind. Their service and sacrifice will not be forgotten in our city. We hold their memory dear, and every Veterans Day we hold a memorial service for the 23 Royal Air Force cadets who died during the flight training at Falcon Field. As a descendant of Flight Lieutenant Charles Lawrence Turner, one of the two navigation officers posted at Falcon Field by the RAF in 1942. I personally send my wishes and highest regards to all for the ties and the memories we share. The Royal Air Force cadets who trained at Falcon Field played a vital role in the Allied victory in World War II. Their courage and sacrifice will not be forgotten. We are grateful for their service and for the enduring friendship between the United States and the United Kingdom. Jennifer Duff, City of Mesa Council Member, District 4. Now I'd like to catch you up on what's been happening in Arizona for the past year and what happened last month. As you may have heard, Falcon Field had a storm kind of like the one in 1945. The World War II hangars had their roofs blown off, the doors were blown inward, and planes were pushed together. Amazingly, the hangars stood strong and were not structurally damaged, and the city plans to repair them. So we feel very fortunate. All of you got an I Learned to Fly Falcon Field sticker. Our sticker campaign, with the help of the airport administration, has helped connect us with several new descendants, and some of which are here today. We have now created a nonprofit called Number 4 BFTS Association, and we joined the Arizona Aviation Historical Group to help share history and make more connections. Our mascot is a beautiful 1943 Stearman, painted in the original BFTS colors of blue and yellow, and it has a new tail number of BP16. We now have a collective group of organizations putting on the Remembrance Day ceremony at our Mesa Cemetery. We streamlined and organized the tasks so it can be easily managed and hopefully go on forever. Lastly, back in 2020 during COVID, when our idea was hatched for a Falcon Field 80th anniversary celebration, my committee made a list of what we were hoping to accomplish, starting with the gala, and a history display in the hangar, archives for descendants, actually here, and lastly, a twin city for Mesa in England. Well, now we are on that last task, and we are hunting for a twin city for the city, or a twin city for Mesa. We learned our timing was perfect because Mesa has always wanted a European city. So you may be seeing more of us as we travel around to Bristol, Lincoln, Sheffield, Newcastle, and Ipswich. Those are the cities that are on our list. So let us know what your favorite city is, and we hope to reveal that city at next year's gathering. Thank you, and enjoy this special day.
who really is our historian, AV, film buff, video expert, printer, he just does everything. And Christine, who's our secretary over here, Claire, who you'll have met at reception. What have you done with Brian?
It's come to the new. Brian, we guarantee every time.
Yes, Brian, who isn't officially on the committee, but we rope him in every time. He's broken his arm a couple of days ago, but we still didn't let him off. It was a bit extreme to try and get out of it, we thought, so he's still here. And of course Neil, who's behind the video and doing various things and pieces. And then our ambassadors, of course, in America, who are Jocelyn and Anne. So that's our team. Right, so the next thing we're going to talk about, I'm going to ask Janice to come and tell you a little bit about Jim Dawson's book and how we got some over here that we can actually release to you today for a special donation. Right, so Janice is going to tell you that.
The Jim Dawson book is the definitive text on the RAF in Arizona. Anybody who trained there is actually listed in the book here. But it's been very difficult and sometimes very expensive to get hold of a copy recently. And as a librarian, I had thought for a while I should contact the publisher and ask them if they would do a reprint. At the beginning of this year, I decided, right, I'm going to do it. When we bought our book some years ago, there was a note inside it from Jim saying that the email address was incorrect as it was printed in the book. He gave us the correct one. Well, I thought, that's a few years ago, maybe I should do some checking, it might be out of date now. So I did a bit of Googling and I found an address for Jim and his wife in Georgia and still the same email address. So I sent a letter to him. Well, the very next day, there was a reply in my email inbox. And he said, there is no need for a reprint. I still have copies available. Getting the books to the UK is the problematic part. How many copies would you like? I am willing to ship a case directly to you if you will pay shipping charges. Tell me what you would like to do. I am very proud of the book and think most of the remaining copies really do belong on your side of the pond, your burning of the White House notwithstanding. Absolutely wonderful to hear from you. And then in a later message he added, you might also be interested in the research materials used to produce the book. I'm 77, in great health, despite a recent heart attack, and presently building wooden 4-board horse fencing on our 46-acre farm. That said, when the inevitable hits, the relatives will dump everything in what we call, based on their colour, the blue dumpster of death. Well, my brain was in a flat spin after all that. I reported all this to the committee. Of course we wanted all this stuff. We just could not let all this gold dust go into a skip. So we discussed various ways that perhaps we might get them across the Atlantic. It seemed to be very expensive. I contacted a shipping company in Edinburgh, near where I live, but they said they couldn't compete with the prices of some of the other companies. So what on earth were we going to do? And then up came Peter Dickinson, another member of our committee. Peter unfortunately can't be here today. Peter has business interests in the USA and travels there quite a lot. He contacted Jim Dawson. Jim decided that he would pack the books into boxes of 10 and they would get them shipped to Peter's office in Texas. So they started their journey from Jim into Texas. They got there, and the next thing that we knew, They were on this side of the Atlantic. Peter had somehow managed to use his contacts to get them to his office over here, and he didn't want them sticking around his office, so we decided as a committee, because we're scattered from Scotland, Lincoln, London and Wales, we decided that we'd each take a box and we would bring them here today. We'd make them available for sale today at a special price. We decided the price would be £35 plus postage and packing normally, but a special price of £20 today. Now, can I say we're very, very, very grateful to Jim for donating these books to us. We decided that we would sell them, and the proceeds would go towards the cost of a plaque, a permanent plaque, which we hope to erect in the National Arboretum, and that will be a permanent memorial to these brave men that we all know. So that is what we're collecting the money for. And so I would like to record my thanks to Jim Dawson, also to Peter Dickinson, because he very, very generously agreed to underwrite the cost of the transport across the Atlantic and out to all the other members of the committee as a donation to the association. So to Jim and to Peter, we're very, very grateful, and as I say, there are copies here today. Can I just make a point that if you do buy a copy, please make sure you get an envelope with them, because Jim supplied a sheet of changes and corrections, and we also have printed out the correct email address if anybody wants to get in touch with them, because he seems to like to hear from people, and he still receives requests for information. We haven't got his research materials yet, because he still wants to refer to them, but we're keeping an eye on them. So they're here today, and thanks to Jim and to Peter.
Finally, before we stop for lunch, I'm just going to pass you now over to Alastair White, who's going to talk about the growing memorabilia that we have for the FTS.
It's got lots of stuff which they've collected over the years, and I've been collecting a lot of stuff. I've had copies of things from various people, and you can see all the different kinds of things we have. We've got photos and slides. I've got several hundred slides that were originally Bill Dowling's, and he used to do slideshows. I'm still cataloguing those. I have copied them all. We have souvenirs, autographs, diaries. A few people wrote diaries, and we have some of those. And we have the Jim Dawson book and other publications, even postcards of people who picked them up on their way through the United States, such as this one from El Paso. Now, this is one of the things. Hello? Yeah, it's working again. One of the things I love doing is restoring and enhancing and colorizing these old photos. And you can see this, you're probably familiar with this this picture we put all over the place, but the original photo is quite different. And it's been worked on quite a lot to produce the result you can see on the right hand side. And I've done that with quite a few things. Pictures of cadets in training, and a picture of Falcon Field, both restored and colorized. In order to do this, I first need a high resolution copy of the original, or something very close to that, to be able to do this. A few more pictures of Hollywood, and it's quite difficult sometimes, because the one at the top right is an American pilot. There's American pilots trained at Falcon Field too, and it's difficult to know exactly what the right colours are for the uniforms. I think that's the right colour for the dress uniform for US Army Air Force. I don't know, somebody might want to correct me, it should be a different colour, I don't know. Okay, so this is the sort of thing I do. I've got high resolution camera, I've got a display stand, I've got a light box for slides and negatives, I've got a remote control for the camera so it doesn't shake, and I've got studio lights if necessary. and I take very high resolution copies of these, of everything I can get my hands on, and digitise them. So this is an appeal to you that we're always on the lookout for more stuff to preserve this history, and if you've got anything you think might be of interest to us, and I know some of you have already done that, contact myself or Kathryn and we can add it to our collection. We've already got a massive amount which is still to be assessed. The biggest problem, in fact, is cataloguing it all. I'd like to be able to publish a catalogue, but I can't do it yet because a lot of stuff is still to be catalogued. There's a lot of work in that, and I've been busy organising this, doing various things for this. So I'll get back to cataloguing as soon as I get back home. So it's a case of watch this space, and if you've got anything that you might like to add to our collection, then just ask me and I'll give you a card with my contact details on it, and we can arrange something. Okay, that's it.
Thanks, Alastair, for